Hey, welcome to this FeedFlux tutorial. In this video, I'm going to walk you through building a real workflow from scratch. One that's actually useful for Instagram automation. The key idea here is simple. We want to simulate human behavior as closely as possible. Why? Because the more natural your actions look, the safer your account stays. Instagram's algorithm is constantly watching for bot-like patterns. So if we get this right, it won't be able to tell the difference between your workflow and a real person scrolling through their phone. All right, let's jump in. Let's start from the very beginning. The first module we need is Unlock Device. I'll search for it in the module bar, drag it onto the canvas, and leave it here for now. We'll configure everything later. First, let's connect all the modules we need, and then we'll go back and tweak the settings. After unlocking the device, we obviously need to open Instagram, so I'll add that module and connect it. Next, I want the workflow to navigate to the feed. This is where all the action happens. Once we're on the feed, we need the Media Align In module. This one is really important. What it does is align the current post on screen so FeedFlux can properly analyze it. And if you look at the bottom of this module, you'll see three outputs: new post, same post, and failed. It detects whether the post on screen is something new, something we've already seen, or if it couldn't align at all. After aligning, we add a media filter. This tells us what type of content we're looking at. Is it a photo, a carousel, a reel, an ad, or something it doesn't recognize? Each type gets its own output so we can handle them differently. Now for the fun part, the actions. I'll add a like module and an AI comment module. So after identifying the media, the workflow will like the post and generate an AI-powered comment. And finally, Media Align Out. This pushes the current post off screen and brings up the next one. Think of it as scrolling to the next post. So here's what the flow looks like so far. Unlock phone, open Instagram, go to the feed, align the post, identify the media type, like it, comment on it, and move to the next one. Pretty straightforward, right? But there's a problem. If I just hit play on this workflow right now, it would run like a machine. Like, comment, scroll, like, comment, scroll. Every single time with zero variation. And Instagram's algorithm would catch that in a heartbeat. Think about it, no human behaves like that. We don't like every single post. We don't comment on everything. And we definitely don't do it at the exact same speed every time. So we need to add two things, randomization and random delays. First, let's talk about the randomizer module. I'll add one right after the media filter. What this does is create a percentage-based gate. I can set it to, say, 80% pass and 20% reject. That means out of every 10 posts, the workflow will only interact with about 8 of them. The other 2 get skipped, just like a real person would scroll past some posts without engaging. Now for the second piece, random wait. This adds a random delay between actions. Instead of liking a post instantly, I'll set a wait of 2 to 5 seconds. And here's the key, it's never the same delay twice. Sometimes it waits 2.3 seconds, sometimes 4.7, sometimes 3.1. Completely random, just like how we humans do it. You see a post, you look at it for a moment, and then you decide to like it. That pause is never exactly the same. If you skip this step and the algorithm sees that you're liking posts at precisely 2-second intervals, that's a dead giveaway. It knows you're a bot, so after the randomizer passes, I add a random wait, then the like. After the like, I add another randomizer, this time set to 50%. So only half of the posts that got liked will also get a comment, then another random wait before the AI comment. And for the rejected posts, the ones that didn't pass the randomizer, they just go straight to a random wait and then to Media Align Out. Skip the like, skip the comment, move on to the next post. You'll notice random wait is the most used module in any workflow, and for good reason. It's what makes everything feel human. Alright, so now we have a nice flow with randomization and delays, but there's still one thing missing. Right now, if I connect Media Align Out back to Media Align In, the workflow would just loop forever, and nobody, and I mean nobody, sits on Instagram all day doing the same thing over and over. People take breaks, they eat, they check other apps, they go do stuff, so we need to control how many times this cycle repeats. And for that, we use the counter module. I'll drop it right after Media Align Out. What it does is count how many times the loop has run. I can set it to any number, let's say 10. So the workflow will go through the whole feed process 10 times and then it stops. Now if you have a brand new account, you'll want to keep this number low, maybe 3 or 5. As your account matures and you've done a proper warm-up, which I've covered in the documentation on the website, you can gradually increase it. Once the counter hits 10, the workflow exits through the finished output, but that doesn't mean the workflow is over. We can keep going and add more tasks after this, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Before we move on, let's handle a few edge cases. These are situations where things don't go as expected, and we need to make sure the workflow doesn't get stuck. First, same post. Sometimes Media Align detects that the post on screen is the same one we already processed. When that happens, I don't want the workflow to just sit there. I want it to skip ahead. So I connect the same post output to a random wait, then to Media Align out. It scrolls past it and moves on. Second, failed alignment. If Media Align in can't properly align the post on screen, same idea. Random wait, then Media Align out. Move on, don't get stuck. Third, what if Media Align out itself fails? This one's a bit different. If it can't scroll to the next post, I don't want it to try aligning again because who knows what's on screen at that point. Instead, I'll send it back to navigate to feed. That way, it resets and starts fresh from the feed. The goal here is simple. No matter what goes wrong, the workflow should always have a way to recover and keep going, never let it get stuck in a dead end. Now let's set up the AI comment module. This is where the magic happens. The workflow generates unique, context-aware comments for each post. When you open the module settings, you'll see a few things to configure. First, account. This is where you select which Instagram account will be used. You set this up in your client dashboard on the FeedFlux website. There's a button called Manage Instagram Accounts where you register your accounts. For now, I'll leave it on any, so it works with whatever account is connected. Next, there's an option to open comments. When you're on the feed and you want to comment on a post, you need to tap into the comments section first. So make sure this is enabled. FeedFlux will open the comment section automatically before typing. Then, the AI provider. This is where you choose which AI generates the comments. You've got options: OpenAI, Claude, DeepSeek, Gemini, Grok. And if you have a custom LLM running on your own server, you can use the HTTP option to connect it. I'll go with OpenAI for this demo. You'll need to paste your API key for whichever provider you choose. Below that, you'll find the prompt. This is where you tell the AI how to behave, what tone to use, what kind of comments to write, what to avoid. I've got a pretty detailed prompt set up here, and I'll make some examples available for you to adapt. And finally, word limits. You can set the minimum and maximum number of words for each comment. This keeps things natural. Some comments are short, some are a bit longer, just like a real person would write. Alright, so we've covered the feed workflow. Now let's build something even more powerful, a search workflow. Instead of just scrolling through your feed and interacting with whatever pops up, this one lets you target specific users. You give FeedFlux a list of usernames, and it goes through them one by one. After the feed counter finishes, I'll add a Navigate to Search module. This takes the workflow from the feed over to Instagram's search page. Then I add the search module itself. This one's got some cool options. You can point it to a text file on your computer with a list of usernames. One per line. You can add as many profiles as you want. For the order, you can choose top to bottom, bottom to top, or random. I'll go with top to bottom for now. There's also a typing speed setting, how fast FeedFlux types the username into the search bar. I'll set it to fast, but you can slow it down if you want it to look more natural. And one more option, remove after search. If you enable this, once FeedFlux has visited a profile, it removes that name from the list so it doesn't visit them again. Pretty handy. Now, here's something exciting that's coming soon. I'm building a feature on the website that will let you automatically generate these user lists. You'll be able to pick a competitor or someone in your niche, and FeedFlux will pull the usernames of people who liked or commented on their posts. That way, you're targeting people who are already active in your space. But for now, you just need a text file with your list of usernames, and you're good to go. Once the search module finds a profile, the workflow opens their page. But before we start interacting, we need to decide. Is this profile worth engaging with? That's where the profile filter comes in. This module checks the profile and lets you set rules. Is it a private account? Skip it. Is it a business account? Maybe engage. Does it have too few followers? Your call. You've got a bunch of filter options here. For this demo, I'll keep it simple and leave the filters open, but you can customize these based on your strategy. If the profile passes the filter, we move to Media Select. This module picks a post from that person's profile grid. You can choose how it selects: random, first post, last post, or by specific index. I'll go with random. After selecting a post, I add a random weight. Because think about it, when you open someone's profile and tap on a photo, you don't instantly like it. you look at it for a second, so we wait. Then comes the media filter again, just like we used in the feed section. It identifies whether we're looking at a photo, carousel, or reel. And after that, same pattern as before. Random wait, then like, then a randomizer to decide if we should also comment. If the randomizer says yes, the AI comment module generates a unique comment based on what it sees. One nice trick here, I can duplicate the AI comment module from the feed section. Just copy and paste it, and all the settings come with it. No need to configure everything again. Now let's handle carousels and reels differently, because that's what a real person would do. When the media filter detects a carousel, I don't want the workflow to just like it right away. I want it to actually swipe through the photos first, so I add the carousel swipe module. In the settings, I can control how long it pauses on each photo. I'll set it to 3 to 5 seconds. Again, random, never the same. I also set how many photos to swipe through, minimum 3, maximum 8. And the swipe speed, how fast the finger moves across the screen, I'll set to 300 milliseconds. After swiping through the carousel, then we proceed to the like and the randomizer for comments. Just like with photos, but with that extra browsing step first. For Reels, it's a similar idea. When the media filter detects a video, I add a wait module. Not a random wait this time, just a fixed wait. I want the workflow to actually watch the reel for about 10 seconds before doing anything. Because that's what people do. They watch the video and then decide if they want to like it. After watching, same flow, like randomizer and maybe a comment. The key takeaway here is that each media type gets its own treatment. Photos get liked quickly, carousels get browsed, reels get watched. That level of detail is what makes the workflow feel genuinely human. So at this point, the workflow has visited a profile, looked at their content, liked a post, and maybe left a comment. But we can take it further. What if we also want to follow some of these people? Or even send them a direct message? Let's start with the follow. I'll add a follow module after the comment step. But here's the thing, I don't want to follow every single person. That would look suspicious, and it's not a great strategy anyway, so I add a randomizer before the follow, set to 50%. That means only half of the people who got a comment will also get a follow. The other half, the workflow just moves on. Now for the DM. FeedFlux has a module called AI Cold DM. It works just like the AI comment, but instead of posting a public comment, it sends a private message. The AI analyzes the person's profile and crafts a personalized message based on what it sees. I'm not going to include the DM in this particular workflow to keep things simple. But just know it's there if you need it. You can drop it in after the comment or after the follow, wherever it makes sense for your strategy. And of course, after the follow, we add another random wait before moving to the next step. Always keep those delays in there. Now let's close the loop on the search workflow. After the follow, whether it succeeded or got skipped, the workflow hits a random wait and then goes into the counter. Just like the feed section, I've set this to 10, so it'll visit 10 profiles before stopping. Once the counter is done, the workflow moves on to the next phase. But while it's still running, after each profile, it loops back to the search module to look up the next username on the list. Now, what happens if a profile isn't found? Maybe the account got deleted or the username changed. In that case, the search module outputs a not found signal. I connect that to a random wait and send it straight back to search, bypassing the counter. Because a missing profile shouldn't count as one of our 10 interactions. Same idea for the profile filter. If a profile gets rejected, say it's private, and we don't want to engage with private accounts, it goes through a random wait and loops back to search for the next name. And for the media filter, if it detects an ad or something it doesn't recognize, I send it to a random wait, then to the counter and back to search. Skip that profile entirely. Every output has a path, every error has a recovery. That's how you build a workflow that runs for hours without getting stuck. Alright, we're almost done. Let's add one of the most important modules, the scheduler. This is the brain of the operation. It controls when the workflow runs and when it rests. I'll place it right between the two main sections, after the search counter finishes and before the workflow loops back to the beginning. Think of it as the orchestrator. Inside the scheduler settings, I can set working hours. For example, start at 6 a.m. and stop at 11:50 p.m. Outside those hours, the workflow just sleeps. Because nobody is on Instagram at 3 in the morning. Well, almost nobody. There are also delta settings. Small random variations added to the start and end times, so it doesn't start at exactly 6 a.m. every single day. Maybe 6:03 one day, 5:57 next. Another layer of randomness, I can set the number of sessions to. If I set it to -1, it runs indefinitely. It'll keep going day after day. Or I can set it to a specific number, like 5. After 5 complete cycles, it stops. And between sessions, there's a rest interval. The workflow takes a break, waits a bit, and then starts the whole thing over again. And the last thing, at the very end of the workflow, I add a lock device module. Once the scheduler decides it's done for the day, the workflow locks the phone screen, clean and tidy. So let's zoom out and look at what we've built. This workflow unlocks the phone, opens Instagram, browses the feed with likes and AI comments, then switches to targeted search. Visiting specific profiles, swiping through carousels, watching reels, leaving comments, following people. All with random delays, percentage-based decisions, counters, and error recovery built in. It might look complex on the canvas, but each piece is simple, and you can customize every part of it. I'm going to save this workflow and make it available on the website so you can download it and adapt it to your own accounts. Just swap in your AI provider, your API key, your username list, and you're good to go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.